Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast, episode 547. And if you're wondering why I was making weird face there, it's because my computer takes forever to start, and I don't know when to start recording. Anyways, I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Corey Feinsod.
Ahoy.
And Tony Gorkanakis.
Hey.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Like, this thing is whistling like crazy. I mean, it's my old MacBook, and, I hit the record button, and seriously, like, it just sits here for, what, guys, like 30 seconds? We're sitting here waiting for me to start. And so I don't know when it actually records. So if I'm ever making a weird face, it's
I think it does. Like, it's weird because it doesn't say it, but I don't know. It seems like sometimes there's a lot of dead air in the beginning.
There's a lag, but there's also a lot of video pop-up because of the encoding from Skype. It takes a while for that to show up on screen, so I don't even mind waiting for it to start for a little bit. But this is the issue of Skype for everybody wondering. It's not great. And yet we continue to use it. But that's because there's not much of an alternative out there. Zoom is out there, but, I guess we'd look at that at some point, but we'll see. Anyways, guys, welcome to 547 Gamecast. I unfortunately didn't get to play too much this week. My brother is building a porch in his backyard, so I've been there quite a bit helping him, and plus my own home, which has had a lot of maintenance repairs needed to be done here. And then I watched a lot of shows. So, by the time you're like done doing all that stuff, you're like burnt out. You're just like, I just want to sit back and just watch something. And unfortunately, one of those things was Army of the Dead, which we talked about in the game on the movie cast. So if you want to hear about that, with spoilers, though, for those wondering, it will be with spoilers if you haven't listened to that episode yet. But check it out. You can hear Corey's and my opinions of that movie. That's a little preview of it, just for those on YouTube. Anyways, so I haven't really done much. Tony, what have you been playing? More Snap?
More Snap. Probably halfway, I'd assume. It's fun. I like it. It's a relaxing game. That's one of those things where just like mostly stress-free, just like trying to let up perfect shots and whatever. And,
I remember that
cool.
from the old the chain of events that has to happen to unlock one of the Pokemons in the next shot, kind of things, right? Is that what you still have to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Corey.
Well, it's funny because like I feel guilty playing stuff because of how nice the weather's been, but then at the same time, like, it's so like the pollen is just out of the. It's so crazy. It is absolutely like the worst. I can't believe how bad it is.
We haven't had any rain here. There's been no rain.
Yeah, it's been dry. So, but I did pick up a reboot, a remaster, I should say. That was on sale, so I was like, you know what?
Okay, what was it?
It was Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning.
Nice. I'm so happy you went somewhere else with that because I was about to talk about Mass Effect, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I picked that up again because what's funny is Schreier's book, which I finished as well. They have a section in there on big, huge games, and it's like, you know what? That was a good game. Like, I really am itching to play it now, and so I went to go get it on Saturday, and they were sold out. It's like, oh, what the heck? How you sold out of this? Like, then the guy, like, oh yeah, this we just had like one or something. Oh, hold on.
Yeah. So I don't know. That game was really good though, and I'm actually interested. I think that's still on sale. That's a GameStop sale, I believe. They have a
Memorial Day. Yeah. It should be on all week.
So I'm gonna have to look at that now because while he's doing this, wait, he's coming back now. Okay, you can tell that. I have a Mass Effect story. I have a Mass Effect story before we're done. But go on.
Okay, sure. But yeah, no, like, so I went Saturday to get in there. So I was like, yeah, he's like, oh, we only got like 2 or something, whatever. So like, that makes sense. Like, who's really clamoring for this game? But then I had to drop off my kids down at their mom's on Sunday, and I passed a GameStop. I was like, yeah, let's check out this GameStop down there, and they actually had 2 copies of it there, and I was like, oh, cool. So I picked it up, and I was like, oh, I didn't even realize it was on sale, so it was even cheaper. It was like $20. So I've been playing that, and it's like, the combat is really good, and they talk about it in Schreier's book too. It's like the combat is fantastic in this game. Like, it's just fluid. You have like magic, you have your weapons, and you can switch between 2 types of weapons. It's just a really well done system, and that is the best part of this game. But it does feel very much like an early 360 game still. It's like, there's a lot of stuff like quality of life things that I'm like, I wish they could have helped a little bit there.
That stuff. Really?
No, it's not too much. Mostly just in a graphical upgrade, performance upgrade. But it's not like the best looking game out there or anything like that. But it's fun. It's definitely one of those games where I really enjoy. Like, I remember the blacksmithing was such a good time doing that, like crafting and So like,
crafting was cool.
yeah, it's been pretty fun for $20. Good little distraction.
That's a game that I like. That's a game like I was like excited for when it came out, and then I ended up loving it. Like I was like I like scoured like that universe. Like I went corner to corner in that planet to like find all the extra stuff, and I found a lot of extra. Like I played a lot of that game.
That was a
I
fantasy
just
game,
got really
right?
into it. Yeah, I got really into it. It wasn't a huge world. Yeah, it's a sorcery, knights and swords.
I mean, the thing is, it's a fantasy game, RPG, you know, and thing about it is EA published it, and they also published obviously Dragon Age Inquisition, which came out around the same time or very fairly recently after, before I forget. And so like that's their franchise. Like they basically were just like, well, here's this other thing, and they never really put anything into it. But the game is, I think, a much better game than Dragon Age. Just never got the sequel, and like.
Well, there's Schilling's company.
Have you guys read Schreier's book at all? Because like,
no, I need to listen to it.
Some of the stuff behind the scenes, they talk about, you know, big, huge games and, you know, how the studios work and the, you know, ups and downs. And that's what got me excited to go back into this game. And just hearing like what could have been, because, you know, like a team comes together to make a game. And this was like one of their, you know, a game that a lot of the first games that they made in this genre, that kind of thing. And they were all ready to go with the sequel, you know, like build on what you've created in the first game, and you know, you saw the Mass Effect too. It's like Mass Effect 1, and then you go that jump to Mass Effect 2. Like that's what they were expecting with, you know, Amalur
this
here.
This game was at PAX East years ago. That was a great showing. They had they had a big universe they were planning on building off of this, like huge.
Like R.A. Salvatore, the Dungeons and Dragons guy, and Todd McFarlane art direction stuff. It's crazy. Like, it's like it's such a shame that there wasn't that sequel that came out, and but
hopefully we can get it still now, but we'll see.
Yeah, and because
of
the
remaster, I'm hoping.
I was like, yeah, this is awesome. And then I also, because of Schreier's book, I also played a bunch of Enter the Gungeon, which is in his book as well.
Oh, is it? Yeah, going back to what we've been up to, I did finish Ready Player 2. I had been listen, I forgot I had used free credits from Audible to pre-order that book a while back. So when Corey was telling me about the fact that, you know, I should get that as an audiobook for Schreier's new book, I was like, well, let me log into Audible. And I looked and I'm like, you know, I never even listened to this, and I got it. So I'm like, let me listen to this. And it's a really short listen because I listen at 2 speed. So it's like 6 hours to listen to the whole thing. It's not long. That book is 3/4 of that book, I was like, this isn't that bad. Like, I don't know why people were so upset. Like, it's not that bad of a book. It's fine. It felt like one of those books where it's like you can't go home again. Like he shouldn't have done a sequel, but it wasn't terrible. And then you get to the ending sequence, is that whole area, like, and it just is like the worst ending ever. It's kind of like abrupt, incoherent, and you know, I will give you guys one preview of the book. At some point, they're fighting flying princes, the musician Prince, multiple versions of him in the book. So it's like a bunch of 80s movies references as well. It's not games at all. And pop music from the 80s. That's really what I think people hated the most. So not a great book. I would not recommend it to people. And I really don't know why he did it except for money. So I did that. And then I mentioned real quick, I wanted to go back to Mass Effect real quick because I wanted to get the Legendary Edition. I'm like so psyched because I actually loved, I loved 1 and 2, loved it. And then I listened to Giant Bombcast, and Jeff Gershman said, like, he brought up a great point, to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I want to play this. And I don't know if anybody else listened to that podcast by chance.
I don't know why you want to play this, Jim. Like, I still don't understand.
He just reminded me, like, he's like, I really loved 1 and 2. He's like, I really wanted to get this game, and I was really excited for it. And then he's like, and then I remembered 3. And he's like, and not even the ending of 3. People forget how much 3.
No, I don't forget. I bring it up every single time you talk about this. And it's Mike, no, the game was fun. It's just the end. I'm like, no, the game was terrible. Like, the game was so fucking god awful.
The gameplay was fine.
The gameplay was fine, sure.
The structure was an insult. It was an insult to the fans of 1 and 2 because it just takes your big story threads that you've battled for in 1 and 2 to save your characters, and it gives you 2 lines of an ending per character. That's all you get. And your choice,
Yeah.
your choices matter. And it just is. It's an insult. 3 was such an insult, and that reminded me of that insult. Like
Just
very
that.
few Rex.
Just that.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing else insulted you about Mass Effect 3. Not the what was it? Who was in the game from IGN? Was it Olivia Munn? Or is it Jessica
No,
Chobot?
Chobot.
No,
Chobot.
Chobot was in it.
Thank you.
Listen,
That was the most egregious fucking like.
whatever. Yeah,
Huh?
that's fine. That's fine. I don't care about that, but I do care about.
Do you care about how every fucking mission turned out to be? Oh, one of your squad mates has to fix the thing, and you have to cover them from a horde of enemies just showing up. And there's always a turret nearby. Cool, like there's a fucking turret. Like
Yeah, like.
Or
but
how
like,
about did you like the quest structure in Mass Effect 3 where you had to just hang around the Citadel and hope that NPCs will talk about something that will be like, oh, I should go check that out, and it's like that's how you get quests in the game.
I forgot about that actually.
Oh, I know you forgot about that. I didn't forget about
my
this.
My stories of my characters that I really got attached to in 2, specifically 2, their stories just ended abruptly in 3, and they didn't even have a good closure to any of that. Most characters, like you got 3 like good endings of a character, and that was it. And I'm like that because that's what the game is about. Forget all. I understand, Tony. The gripes you're saying are absolutely gripes.
Oh, I know.
But the biggest slap to the face is to the fans of the series who are building your story.
No, I agree. 100% agree. The story is what matters. But I could forgive all these gameplay things if the story mattered, but it didn't. So
yes, and that was his point. And then you know what he's like. What he just said to me
Jim,
is like,
you like stopped playing video games for a year after Mass Effect 3. Go listen to the podcast. Seriously, go listen to the podcast.
Yeah, Mass Effect 3 ruined you, Jim. That's why I'm like, what? I kept thinking like
it literally ruined you.
Yeah.
Like go back and just
I mean, I was the only one I think that was like positive on this game, just because everything I kind of wanted I got just because of the way I built my character and stuff. And still, like there are moments that are frustrating because you do develop relationships with characters in the second game that just don't exist in the third game. So yeah,
so it's a great love-hate relationship because you think about like how much
I'm not gonna make that comparison.
really great times you had on 1 and 2, but then 3 is always there and it's always lurking, waiting for you, and it's just like, and that's the worst time ever.
I don't know, Jim. I feel like you're the girl that likes the gets abusive boyfriend, and like all her friends say, "Don't go back to him. Don't go back to him." And then you go back to him. What are you doing?
Yeah. No, but you had such great times in those beginnings.
But you didn't.
You did for the first 2 parts. No, that's the problem. I'm going to stay away for now, and I'm not saying maybe at $20, maybe I won't try it again to try 1 and 2 again, but I just don't want to play 3. I don't like 3 is that even thinking about 3, you get that whole like, no, it's too soon.
I would play 1 and 2 a bunch, like over and over. 3, I'd play once just to get through it, but yeah. Like there's so much good stuff in that one, but I don't think it's worth it right now.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right, let's get into some news, guys. What have we got here? Jason Schreier, this was earlier last week, tweeted about Starfield. Starfield is impressions. We were talking last podcast about how we expect that to be. I think it was March I was talking about. They were talking about March 2022, and he's tweeting out here like, it's not even close. I do not expect that game for a long time. Expect a trailer at E3, maybe, right? But you're talking like way further than people expect. So 2023, is that what we're looking at?
Who are people expecting this? Like that's what I'm like curious about. Like we know this is Bethesda. They've when they talk about games, they usually show it, and then not usually, but with Fallout, they had it out in 6 months, whatever, since when it was revealed. But Starfield's just been this thing that's been like in the background forever, and like Elder Scrolls is kind of those things that just like it just gets delayed like constantly. So like if this is supposed to be a sci-fi Elder, did I say Elder? What the fuck? What am I?
Starfield. Yeah.
Well, no,
sci-fi.
Elder Scrolls, but like Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, right.
Okay. It's like I just feel like those franchises they just take forever to make, and it just seems like there's been no progress on that game. I don't know. Maybe they could surprise you and be like, oh yeah, hey, it's coming out now, but it just seems like that game is years away at the earliest.
I'm hoping for fall of next year, but I think it still could be fall. I think it could be fall next year.
No matter when it
We'll
comes
see.
out, like you're saying, it doesn't matter when it comes out. It's still gonna be
It-
broken.
It'll be broken. That's
It's
fair.
really funny because to me, I think Microsoft is stuck between a rock and a hard place because, okay, first of all, the official announcement that it will be Xbox exclusive, Xbox/PC exclusive, will like just implode or explode the internet, like Reddit,
Sure.
social media, Twitter, all that shit. Even though people like in the know,
we all
know
expect
that.
it.
Right?
We
Well, no,
all
I know,
expect
but like the casual people do not expect that. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you know all the headlines are going to be clickbait. Oh, makers of Fallout and Skyrim. Next game is
We did it
PC.
last week.
No, I know.
Wasn't Elder Scrolls
so,
3
yeah.
like Xbox exclusive? Like, wasn't that on Xbox, the original Xbox exclusive game or something? But yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's just gonna be one of those things where it's gonna be clickbaity headlines that just fuel the flames of the internet.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is they're kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place because do they release it and potentially have a Cyberpunk 2077 situation on their hands? I think they're deathly afraid of that.
Yeah,
but at the same time,
no.
do they just not release it this year? And then just be like, well, what do you have, Microsoft? Like Halo, maybe? Who knows?
That's the thing.
Who knows?
After Master Chief Collection, like they can't afford to do that again. Like that's like they haven't put out Infinite. Like the Halo Infinite's not out yet, and that's supposed to be out 2 years ago or something.
I think they're gonna have Halo this year, but that's a hell of a lot to put on a franchise that has been downward trending for how many versions? That's a hell of a lot of weight to put on that game. A game that also, by the way, looked terrible the last time we saw it. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. Like they need content, and I understand they've been buying companies, but that means jack and shit when there's nothing to show. Like you're not giving us anything. And I understand there's a pandemic, and then that caused delays, and I'm sure that caused a lot of games to get pushed that may have been coming out this year. But it's gotta be something. I mean,
it's not their thing right now.
Especially,
I mean, their focus has not been on that. Like we've seen it.
Especially if what we're hearing from Sony's, we're going to get a state of play from Sony, and I'm tying this in here on the 27th for Horizon gameplay, and to me that makes it sound like that's going to be fall of this year.
Maybe.
I really do. I think that will be their fall game, and
I was hoping that would be a launch title for PS5. That's what needed, but at the same time, it doesn't need it because everybody's buying up every PlayStation that comes out. Anyway,
no, you're right. So. I mean, that's if they get Horizon out. Like, I'm sorry, Halo, you can't compete with that game anymore. Like, you're not the heavyweight you once were. We talked about that how many episodes ago? Like, Halo just doesn't have its pizzazz anymore like it used to have.
We've been talking about this for at least I've been saying this for years.
Yeah, since 3, essentially. I mean, 4 was like underwhelming, to say the least. You hated 5, Jim.
I hated 5. 4 was fine, but
it was underwhelming. That's the thing. It was underwhelming. Like you go from 3 to 4, and yes, we changed studios. A lot of it was still Bungie, but at the same time, you are changing studios, and you're going solely under Microsoft now, where they're controlling absolutely everything, and you're trying to shoehorn in a character that didn't. I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't make sense for him to be there anymore. Like you ended the story with him in a pretty close that chapter. Yeah, you close that. But you had to bring him back and find ways to make it work. And I supported that game. I think I talked that game up when it came out. I tried to see the brighter side on that, silver lining and whatnot. But when you look back at it, it just underwhelming.
Yeah, doesn't have the
everything. And then you had Call of Duty, and Call of Duty's now just dominating everybody's first shooter time.
And 5 is just not great. And 4, like I said, 4 also screwed us with the achievements, Corey. We have a negative opinion because of the achievements, so we got fucked over from that. But whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. So I mean, we'll see about Horizon on Thursday. But if that reaches this year, I mean, Microsoft's got some. Are they in trouble because they're still selling out whatever they can make? I don't know if they're in trouble.
They're not. I mean, this year's trouble. They're doing a lot of stuff with their PC side and
Game Pass.
Party.
Yeah. Bring if they don't get Halo out this year, I feel like
I play on my Xbox more than my PlayStation because of Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like we'll get something big this releasing this fall on Game Pass if we don't get a game from Microsoft. I feel like they'll pay up. I don't even know what's big on Game. What's big coming out this fall? We don't even know, do we? It's the third party. Third party. I'm not saying exclusive, by the way, to the Xbox. I'm saying Game Pass launch release. You can also buy. Whoops. You can also buy it on PS, 5 and whatever. But I'm saying whatever that is, Assassin's Creed or something.
Yeah.
I feel like go out and get.
Well, I mean,
That's
Outriders was on Game Pass, and I played it on Xbox because of that.
Yeah. So something like that is I feel like they'll do this year. So we'll see. All right. What else we got in the news here? Biggest news of last week. If it's good or not, guys, Overwatch League will change if they're shrinking from 6 to 5. And that's the biggest news from Overwatch 2.
That is huge ramifications. Like you posted that one tweet from Carpe, which is like it's
I
like
want to say bye Papa. I was like,
yep.
damn.
Thanks for the memories.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So yeah, I mean you change the
5v5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
5v5
if you're
for
in a tank, it's gonna be 2 support, 2 DPS, and 1 tank. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm curious to see how that changes up, because I mean maps and character all character ability. I mean they're all geared and set up for 6v6.
Why change it? Like you also have your league, which is very successful with a 6v6 style. Like I mean, it's done very well. You have teams, you have people that are paid to be on these teams, like that have skills that you brought in for the 6 versus 6, and you go to 5v5. You're basically firing somebody by making this decision.
Yeah,
like you guys said, you're cutting people off, and you're making people lose jobs because of reducing it to 5v5. Like I don't get it.
To me, I'm gonna go on a Blizzard rant because again, I'm on fucking Blizzard. But to me, this just proves that. So part of the reason they're doing this is because they've shifted to a 2-2-2 meta, which is 2 tanks, 2 healers, 2 DPS. But basically, every fucking tank has a ginormous shield, and it's a problem when you get multiple tanks with multiple shields trying to bust through and stuff like that. So instead of trying to balance the game, they're just like, hey, what if teams only could have 1 tank? Cool, let's do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess
lazy. It's just lazy.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, there's the pressure of adding more characters, which then disrupts the balance of the game, which then you have to go and do all balancing, rebalancing, all that stuff again, which seems like they don't want to necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. But all right.
Curious to see how the gameplay changes at a professional level.
Professional level, yeah. Like for the home users, like it's sure one less person in the group. It's going to change some strategies, but it's not like game breaking. Like holy shit! For the league, it's going to change everything. So it's just a matter of like I told you, like you can almost create another team of people are getting fired. So
better have you better have an alt that you can use there if you're a tank.
Hopefully, you guys are good with your alts. So yeah. But then maybe they'll change the meta where like it is still valuable to have 2 tanks in the group. You know what I mean? Like somehow.
I don't know if you can. I mean, if they roll lock it, right. I think they're roll locking that.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Because I mean, that whole dive meta, man, it's just like 3 tanks. It's crazy. I mean, that's the thing is like like the Overwatch League Season 1, you had some of the most amazing like hell yeah moments and like hero moments because DPS characters could do that stuff, and instead of like Tony's saying, instead of balancing characters where they're viable in all situations, you're making it so that way you're just gonna try to remove a character from the picture. So, but yeah, I think they're roll locking it, so you can't.
Okay. All right. Other news: Ubisoft is restarting development on Skull and Bones. The restarting, not canceling.
This is the second time, I think.
I
mean, this game was announced like a long time ago.
Yeah,
I mean, Assassin's Creed 4?
Flag. I mean, Black Flag. Well, they had the pirating stuff, right? And so everyone's like, "This pirate thing could be its own game. This is so cool." And then like a year later, it's like, "Oh yeah, let's do that."
Wasn't it the same E3 of Beyond Good and Evil 2? So which one comes out first?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It's like it was early PS3, 4, I should say PS4 days, right?
Yeah, I feel like that definitely around Black Flag because we got these pirate games announced right away. But it was around Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves. That's what it was. Almost like because we were making fun of Sea of Thieves when we saw Black Flag, the Skull and Bones trailer. That's what it was. So why are you continuing with this though? They like if it's not working out, don't you just cut your losses? Why it's like 3 times restarting?
I think it's probably the sunk cost fallacy, where it's like we've invested X amount of years, hundreds of millions of dollars at this point. You imagine, maybe.
It's interesting. I'd recommend reading Schreier's book because
and it's on there. I just the 1 week delay like totally just fucked me up.
Yeah.
But
no, it's like one of those things where it's like, you have these companies that are building these games and developing games and stuff, and some of them just like nope, we're done. You guys are done. Everyone just pack up your bags. You can't get into the building anymore. All your stuff is still here, whatever. And it's like. And then you have these games here, which is just like, okay, we thought you were dead. What's happening with this? Who knows? It just the cost to keep these games going is just astronomical. So cancellations are so much more. It seems prevalent when.
Like, don't get me wrong. I'd rather have them do this than cancel it for sure. Because I think, well, I mean, it's tough, right? It's tough because.
Well, I mean, it's like,
do you never want to see people like
a bad game, or do you give it a chance?
Right. And the thing is, I think Ubisoft, and I've said this before, I think Ubisoft is a firm believer in they will make a game good eventually, right? Because I want to say that's how like Rainbow Six 1 was like, right? It wasn't
The Division,
right? Yeah, that like.
For Honor even got much better.
For Honor got because they believe in those games as a service.
Yeah.
They were the ones that like really pioneered it before most of these other companies tried it. And it's not just like, oh look, it's not working out. We'll just cancel it and fire a bunch of developers and stuff like that. So patience. Patience.
Yeah, and it's crazy how much there is like so much meddling that goes on, politicking and stuff with people that don't know what they're doing, and it's just like. Just give the people that are creative like you. That's why you see all these independent games, and they're just such gems because you don't have that corporate meddling.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me get the news back open here. Sorry, I had the other screen open. Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. Ubisoft does stick with it, so we'll see. But Square Enix is set to announce a new action RPG. Interesting. Is this a collaboration with Team Ninja? That's what it says?
Apparently.
What's going on here? What is this? So a game in the Final Fantasy series in something resembling Souls. So please have a difficulty setting. And then I'll be good with this. Or it could be just like, that had difficulty setting, didn't it? Ghosts. So yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima?
Yeah, didn't it? It was not that hard, either way.
Yeah.
So that was fine.
Ghost of Tsushima had it. Jedi Fallen Order had it.
Fallen Order was fun. I got through Fallen Order too. So yeah. Interesting. E3, you think? Get something announced?
Could be. You could get something on there.
There was another rumor that Square is going to announce a Final Fantasy game that wasn't already announced, which would be 16. Endwalker. Mm-hmm. So this lines up with that rumor.
Okay. Interesting. Netflix is planning a bigger move into video games. So,
they had that one Black Mirror thing, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah, that was a choose your own adventure.
Yeah,
that's what they did.
Who knows? They may be trying to do an Amazon thing and have their own video game company or development studio or something. Maybe publish a game. Who knows? Yeah,
it sounds to me like more video games than choose your own adventures. Like Bear Grylls has that too, like a choose your own adventure show. But this sounds like actually.
I think they're just saying like more into video games because they did have a game, air quotes, on there. But good. Maybe it'll be good.
Yeah, maybe.
Funny.
Mike's not on this podcast. Damn it. All right. Sonic Central. Last bit of news we have here. Tune in at 9 a.m. Pacific on the 27th for a first look at some of the projects from our Sonic 30th anniversary celebration. So there's been a lot of teasing with a new Sonic game, according to what I'm seeing. Multiple Sonic games, actually, it looks like. Mm-hmm. Do you think we get a follow-up to the one that Mike loves? What's that one? Sonic
Mania?
Mania. Yeah, did we get a solid follow-up to that?
Who knows, man?
Doubt it. It's based off of what like it
I
seemed
know,
like they
but
were bitter. So who knows?
I know they're bitter, but for some reason I got this vibe that we might see a follow-up to that. I don't know why. I don't know, but
It'd be nice if it's
definitely a
from the
3D.
same developers. Like it's like if you're just gonna call it Sonic Mania 2 and have different people making it that aren't,
Yeah,
the
I mean,
capable.
we'll definitely get a 3D Sonic announcement. There's no question in my mind. But I think we get a 2D one as well. I think they have 2 Sonic games in development. So that was the same thing. Like today, they also released Virtua Fighter 5
Ultimate Showdown, I think.
The 10 millionth edition is a PS4 exclusive in June. So it's like the 5th version of that game. So they're becoming like Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo Championship Classic Edition.
Yep.
Same idea. So, and that's it. I think on the news. I think that's good. So
yeah, we're approaching E3. 1 month away.
Yeah.
We gotta do a preview episode. Hopefully next week we can take a little time. We'll get some news together for what we think might happen there. Talk about some of the games we might see. So we'll do a little preview edition. I think. Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it depends on the news. So if we keep getting a ton of news,
it'll be interesting what they say with this Horizon Forbidden West. I'm like really pretty excited for that. So
yeah, I agree.
I really just hope because one of the insiders, I forget which one, said he's kind of in the same boat I was, because you remember whenever Horizon Zero Dawn was first announced, I was like, I'm all about this game. Like new franchise, new IP,
giant dinosaur robots,
female protagonist, giant robot dinosaurs. Hell yeah! Like I'm all about this and stuff like that. And then unfortunately had to release right around Breath of the Wild, which obviously is my most intense big game for like multiple years in a row. And this is one of the things that like it's like, oh god, why does that have to happen? But this guy said, he's like, how wild would it be if Breath of the Wild 2 got released around the same time frame as Horizon?
It could now.
And I'm just like no, like please don't do that to me. Like
that's why I was going to bring up again. Like Nintendo has a big for some reason on Twitter today, Nintendo was trending like crazy for like E3 announcement games that they're going to do. Like it was speculation posts, but it was all over like trending on on Twitter. And like the biggest thing obviously was Breath of the Wild 2, which we're all hoping to hear from.
I mean it's the timelines, they work out. Yeah. And unfortunately, which is a shame too, I think that. But you have to put this out on PS4. I just like this. Imagine this game like PS5 exclusive and being able to just take advantage of that hardware completely. That would have been like so much nicer. And I don't even have a PS5, but like I just see this game like, oh man, imagine if that. But you got to do the Last of Us thing and make it pick it up both, I guess. Well, I mean Last of Us thing, but just put it on the system that just gonna hold it back. That's all. I'm upset about that.
Yeah. So, all right. That's going to wrap up 547 of the Gamecast. Thanks for tuning in. You can write us gmail.com, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that subscribe, that like button, leave a comment, a question. We'll answer you guys. Thanks for listening. See you guys next week.